Hello. I'm saying hello. I doubt anyone is here because this was very, as the title says, impromptu. I was originally thinking that I would sprint tomorrow, but then I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to do that. I know that I'm going to want to just lay in bed and maybe watch that little parade. And so I said, let me sprint tonight. Maybe I'll get some progress in Fruit of the Dead done. Maybe we won't even read. I don't know. This is very playing it by ear. So welcome. But like I was saying, I'm reading Fruit of the Dead, which is allegedly a Persephone and Demeter retelling, because I thought we were going to focus on that mother daughter relationship. And so far, we haven't. So far, it has just been Homegirl meeting her Hades, which, okay. And it's literary, and it's trying to be very literary. There's like no quotation marks. It's a little much for me personally. I feel like quotation marks are not a lot to ask. Hello. Can I click? I can click. Hello, welcome. If you are a reader, feel free to let me know what you're reading in the chatty chat. If you're, prepping for holiday cooking, you can let me know if that's what you're doing. If you're not doing anything, you can let me know that as well. Because again, not really sure what we're gonna be doing here today. I would like to at least do one sprint. I feel like one sprint, one nice 45 at some point. Maybe. I feel like that's gonna be on the agenda. But I also feel like it has been a minute since I have just been live on the regular channel, not behind the Patreon paywall. And so I said, let me come over and do something public. Let me do something public for the people, not having to pay for things. Reading One Dark Window and listening to the audiobook for A Study in Drowning. I've heard of both. Actually, here's the thing. I've heard of A Study in Drowning. Like, I've seen people reading that. This One Dark Window book, I understand. I think it's like Aaron's Patreon pick, like the buddy read or whatever for the month. I have no idea what this is. I have no idea. And you know what? We are public. So you know what we should do? We should go to my good friend Goodreads and let me. Yeah, they are probably for people. Everyone is welcome tonight. Hello. But let me present, share screen. Let's share my Goodreads tab because I have no idea what a One Dark Window is. And maybe there are other people like me, not this. I don't care about the Goodreads Choice Awards. If you are late and you care about the Goodreads Choice Awards, I reacted on the Patreon. So that's where all those thoughts are. It was very impromptu. Let's see here. The Shepherd King, book number. It was going to be a series. Remember when things were standalones? Because I do. First off, let's look at this cover. Cover is hideous. I guess I should get rid of this comment so people can see the full thing. Cover is hideous. Not a good cover. Maiden, monster, martyr. I feel like that's not a good triptych. I feel like that's not easy to say. But let's see here. Elsbeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Needs more than luck to stay alive in the eerie, mislocked kingdom of. There we go. The name of the kingdom is Blunder. One moment here. The name of the kingdom is Blunder. I'm gonna be bigger today. She needs a monster. She calls him Nightmare. Some people are just so creative. An ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes free, especially magic. When Elsbeth meets a mysterious highwayman, okay, it's a highwayman, guys. It's a highwayman. On the forest road, of course it's in the forest, because that's where the highway is. Her life takes a drastic turn, thrust into a world of shadow and deception, because we're in the forest. Ain't no sunlight in the forest. She joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder. Again, that's the name of the kingdom. From the dark magic infecting it. And the highwayman, he just so happens to be the king's nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder. and guilty of high treason. Okay, interesting. Together they must gather 12 Providence cards. They're going on a quest for some playing cards. The keys to the cure. But as the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, of course, there's an undeniable attraction. Elsbeth or Elspeth is for that's an ugly name, Elspeth. It's like you have a lisp. You're forcing me to have a lisp here. Is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The nightmare is slowly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. Yeah, I'm really happy that I decided not to read this book with y'all, but I wish y'all the best. I truly do. I truly wish y'all the best. Gonna attempt to bake a dessert and mac and cheese. Okay, look at you. You got this. Mac and cheese is easy. Mac and cheese, not that difficult. You got this. I don't know what the dessert is. The dessert could be tricky because it's like actual chemistry. I am doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. I went to the store today. I went to work today. Um, I was annoyed they had me go to work today. I did not need to be there, but you know what? It's fine. I survived it. I am here. I have tomorrow off. I don't have to do anything. I take that back. I do have to do something. I'm watching Saltburn tomorrow. I'm going to the movies. So I'm gonna be one of those people in public on a holiday. But you know what? I need to decide open Saltburn on a Thanksgiving weekend. So I'm seeing Saltburn tomorrow. But other than that, I don't have anything planned. Ooh, not for a month. I say wrap it up. I say wrap it up. It don't from what we just read of the synopsis, it's not that book was One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, the first book in the Shepherd King series, duology. I'm not sure. You've seen this book everywhere. You think so? The sequel came out recently. Really? Let me go. I'm not going to read the sequel because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The sequel is Two Twisted Crowns, and it did. It came out on October 17th. But again, I won't read it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. And it's the last book in the series. Okay, it's a duology. The Shepherd King, the Shepherd King duology. This is YA? There's no way this is YA. Orbit doesn't publish YA, do they? I hope not. They should get out of the YA game. I didn't read the whole synopsis for starting, and I thought the nightmare was going to be the love interest. Oh. Imagine your oh, I feel bad for you. I can see how that would be upsetting. Wish I could stay and hang out. Well, I'm happy you could stop by. It is a little late, which is why I just wanted to do one good sprinty sprint. So we've been talking for almost 10 minutes at 25 after. So in 2 minutes, when it's actually been 10 minutes, we will do our first sprinty sprint. And it might be the only sprinty sprint. Okay. I can't promise it's going to be a lot because again, people got lives. So we'll do one good sprinty sprint. I'm reading Fruit of the Dead, which is supposed to be a take on Hades, Persephone, Demeter. We're following our girl Corey at this moment. Her name is, I want to say it's like Corey Anders, but that might just be Titans on the brain. But her name is Corey, and she was working at a summer camp as a counselor. And as camp is over, parents are seeing like the end of camp production this camp does. They're, picking up their children. And Hades had a son at the camp. And because I think he might have had two kids at the camp, I can't remember, but he had at least one because he and his wife were getting divorced. And so his son was sad and Corey was like comforting him. And so now she has just agreed to be the nanny to his son for like a month. And she's going to get $20K out of it, which honestly, good for her. In any other book, people be reading, oh, $20,000 for a month of work. I can't do that. I can't take your $20,000. But she said, yes, I'll take it. I could use that actually. So that's where I am in the story. It's not super far. It's not anything super crazy. But I believe we are at 25. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back our old friend, Miss Pomodoro Kitty, for 45 minutes for our singular sprint of the evening, and I'll see you uh, when the time is over. Welcome back, readers. That was the first sprint. Will there be a second sprint? I don't know, but that's the end of the first one. I made it to 29% in Fruit of the Dead, and I don't know how to feel about this book. So, um, like I said, this is supposed to be a take on Demeter and Persephone. And so in chapter 1, which these chapters are really long, really is slight exaggeration, but I'm only on chapter 3 and I'm at 29%. So kind of not too much of an exaggeration. But chapter 1 was all about Persephone, her at the summer camp, ending the summer camp, meeting the Hades character, being lured off and away. Chapter 2, we are following the Demeter character, and she works for this agricultural situation because, of course, she does. She's Demeter, and she is in China working on this like new rice situation that the company she's working for is like trying to roll out to market. Why you need a super rice, I don't know. Maybe it's like packed with protein. I'm not entirely sure. We didn't get a lot of information on it, but we're seeing her in China with a couple of her associates, and she's there to visit the farms for their magic rice. And spoiler alert, the magic rice didn't grow. The farmers are kind of pissed at her because they didn't have any rice. So they didn't have anything to eat really. That was not they were not happy about that. And because they didn't harvest any rice, they didn't get the second part of their contract payment. And so not only are they hungry, they're hungry and broke. So they're not very happy with Demeter. And it's there that she is, she's running into that issue, but she's also running into the issue where her daughter is running away. She's like, what is happening? Like, where are you? She knew her daughter was at camp, but they haven't really been communicating, partly because she's at camp. But also at the end of chapter 1, her daughter agreed to go with this man that she knew for all of 15 seconds. Again, she did decide to go with him for $20,000. So, like, I kind of get it, kind of understand, but also, like, you did just meet him. You did just meet him. Um, so the chapter with Demeter ends with her like, I need to find my daughter. And she's supposed to like go on this journey to find her, which makes sense given the mythological framework of the story. And so in chapter 3, we are back with our Persephone character. She is in the underworld location, and we're learning more about the Hades character and how he works for this pharmaceutical company. And they just took some drugs. So clearly that's about to blow up in their faces. It's perfectly fine. It's a perfectly fine book. There are some things in this book where I just have to side eye. I'm like, I don't know if I like this, but at the end of the day, I'm out here. But let's see what the chat is up to. Yeah, like I said, I was originally thinking in my head, in my mind, that I would do this tomorrow. But then it was like this week and last week, I was seeing all kinds of suggestions popping up on my YouTube home screen for other people who are going live tomorrow. And so I said, well, I'm not competing. I'm not fighting people. Particularly when I'm not really trying to be productive necessarily tomorrow or even in general. I think that in 2023, BookTube's obsession with the word productivity, trying to be inclusive of the public facing sprints. And I'm saying this as someone who for the paid walled sprints, I've used the same language, but it's just like, sometimes we don't need to be productive. So sometimes it is not necessary to throw that in the title. Um, and I'm really not even sure that it's like winning you anything in terms of like search engine optimization. Like no one is I mean, are people going to YouTube typing in productivity sprints? Maybe. But I don't think that the people who are going in there and like typing in productivity sprint are looking for productivity sprints on this area of the internet. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. So I knew I had to like sprint. So we did the one sprint and it was a nice chunky sprint. But if we just chalk for the next 30 minutes or something, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Not gonna be upset about it at all. One Dark Wood, yeah, we've established that, but welcome, Aaron. If you did read, feel free to let us know. Did your mom participate in this sprint? I know your mother is around. Is your grandma also a reader? Did she do the reading with us? Feel free to let us all know. Read a good chunk. Love that. Read 60 pages, starting to like the book more. The nightmare and the nightmare's identity was revealed. So you finally understand why he is important to the story. Okay, look at me. I was making fun of him. Well, actually, to be fair, I mean, yes, but also I can't get over the name of the country and this fantasy world that Orbit said, yes, I'm going to publish you. And not only am I going to publish you, I'm going to charge people. I was going to say $30, but it's probably not $30. It's probably like $26.99. I'm gonna charge people $26.99 to read about a country named Blunder. It's just a deeply unserious move for me. That is true. I mean, am I going to start doing that? Probably not. But also kind of because today is the 22nd, right? It's the 22nd. Yes, it is. And I will be doing Vlogmas. Vlogmas is right around the corner. And I feel like I'm always doing this disclaimer for the new patrons because I've been daily vlogging over there a lot. And it's just like the daily vlog is not I'm not a lifestyle girly, so there will be no me making coffee. There's no me chopping up my dinner. It'll probably be me in front of these bookshelves. If we're lucky, I'll go down to the conference room and film in the conference room. But it'll be me in these bookshelves in this nice little chair. So hello, welcome, 41%. Love that. Love that for you. I have this checked out. In my mind, November was really gonna be that girl. November was going to be that girl. I was gonna read all this nonfiction. I was gonna have a memoir moment. And then it started being due at the library. And I said, I'm not having memoir moments. My memoir moments are over. But I'm taking solace in the fact that I've been reading nonfiction all year. And I've read a couple of memoirs throughout the year. So sorry, Jada. Okay. Thank you. I'm happy. uh Orbison saying yes, a lot. That is also true. But I feel like this is true of a lot of the publishers. A lot of the publishers. And I haven't really had it doesn't really fit in to like talk about publishing trends in a wrap up. But Orbit and all the little romance girlies, they're definitely picking up a lot of weird things and putting them on the release calendar in weird places. So I don't know. But also to be fair to me, I've never trusted Orbit. Orbit and Tor are not for people like me, I think. So to be fair, I've just never trusted them. I feel like their target demographic is not me. So I just always side eye the things that they decide to do. Yeah, and I started in February with Blackathon because I said I want to do Blackathon content. And so I did daily Blackathon videos over there. And then I said, well, this was fun, kind of. I say daily. I don't think I actually was successful in February. And so then in April, I said I could do this again. Why not? Like, let me try it again. And then in April, I was also not really all that successful. But I said, okay, June's gonna be my girl. So then in June, also missed a couple of days, was very sad. August, I feel like I was on it. And then most recently in October, I did not miss a day. Finally got through 31 days of daily content. So I feel like I have been fully prepared for Vlogmas. I'm ready to do it. November, I have not been reading like that. So I feel like I'm not burnt out on reading. And just recently, I had to take my own advice from my Instagram stories because it's also that kind. Let me get rid of this now. It's also the time of year, and I feel like some of y'all might be in the chat. Some of y'all might be behind on your Goodreads goal. You were using it to actually push yourself. You were using the Goodreads goal to like challenge. You wanted to actually strive and work towards something. And so maybe you challenge yourself and you said, I might read 50 books in a year, but I'm going to challenge myself and I'm going to put 75 on Goodreads. And here you are now, and it's November 22nd, and you're like, I've only read 45 books and I wanted to read 70. I feel like it's time to admit defeat. And to me, I'm right there with you. Like my Goodreads challenge was only one book because I'm not stupid. I'm gonna get my check mark. I'm gonna get my external validation. Thank you. But also in the back of my mind, I did kind of want to match last year. And last year was an anomaly. I read like 170 something books, which is an insane number to me. It's just completely insane. I understand that there are people on BookTube who read 400 books. More power to them. They also, do things I would never do. Would never they read things I would never read. So I'm not really trying to be like them, but I did want to at least match my own number. And as I look, I'm at like 130 something, and I'm not delusional enough to believe that I'm going to read 40 books in the month of November or December. So I'm right there with y'all. I'm also admitting defeat, but I also got my check mark. So love that for me. Let's see here. I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind. I'm behind. Doo-doo-doo. There are these guards that are called. I can't pronounce that either. I'd be making something up though. Definitely can. I thought I did. I thought I liked memoirs, but I feel like I can respect the idea of a memoir and I appreciate someone being willing to be vulnerable. But for what I read for entertainment. And so when I'm reading for entertainment, it feels a little bit weird to then come and review the memoir because I'm probably not going to be entertained. And if I was entertained, it was probably about you telling me about the time when you were 2 years old with your pet cockroach and you were struggling and you could hear your parents arguing in the next room over, and your cousin came over and they did a line on the coffee table, but they were 7 years old. And so then your whole family had to stop the argument in the next room over and you had to rush to it's just a lot. It's a lot. So I'm not quite the memoir girly I thought I could be. See, you are not alone. You're not alone. I have been saying that I've been having a really good reading year. And then the other day I was looking at my Goodreads and the last 5-star narrative that I read was back in, I think it was July. And then June, I think, July might have been the nonfiction, and then June was like the regular novel. So my reading year is not as amazing as I thought it was. But it's also not horrible. Like, I really do think when I go to sit down and, like, film my worst books or my disappointing books, I'm gonna have to, like, really dig deep to feel anything about them. So I'm not upset about the reading year that I've had. Got your hold from My Name Is Barbara. Love that for you. I've heard it's very long, though, and I've seen it at, Books A Million, and it is very long. And Barbara talks very slowly, so I feel like that's easy 30 hours on audio. Trying to get through this Goodreads list. Bee Sting or All the Sinners Bleed. All the Sinners Bleed is S.A. Cosby, so I'm gonna vote for Bee Sting. See, I think that's how most people think, but I have decided that, no. I don't know. I think to me personally, um, I'm I don't like lifestyle content. Like, I will watch it occasionally from a handful of people, but 9 times out of 10, I'm skipping your B-roll. I'm skipping your the fluff of the vlog, which I understand is, like, kind of what makes it a vlog. But for me, I make bookish content, and so my vlogs are going to be bookish. Allegedly, allegedly. I will say that the page on Patreon, I do be cheating. I do cheat on Patreon. I allow myself to have 1 day a week because they get weekly reading sprints. So one of the videos is just a reading sprint, and then sometimes it definitely don't be about the books. We do not keep it about the books on Patreon. I watched a movie, you guys. I was watching this TV show, but in December it's gonna be bookish. I'm gonna be on my bookish grind. I'm gonna be reading the books. We're gonna talk about books. It's gonna be all books all the time. Um, what? Um, I feel like I missed it. I saw this comment come in, but I couldn't understand. Like I still don't even know like which one it was about. Could maybe hit 150. That's the push goal. I love that for you. You're at 177 out of 200. One book behind. So yeah, if you're only one book behind, I think you could get it. Hello. Where was I? Re- Let me look at my Goodreads really quick. I don't think I've read that many. I know I've read a lot of 4-star books, but honestly, as long as one I rate it, because there are some books that I haven't rated that are just bad, like they're not good. But some of the unrated ones are like memoirs, and it's like at a certain point I can't give a memoir 4 stars. That just feels a little unserious to me personally. Other people can rate them however they want to, but to me, I think if I'm not giving your memoir 5 stars, then like maybe I shouldn't rate it. But let's see here. I guess I could share this. Might be a little more interesting than me just looking. Share screen, Goodreads, my review stats. It's not too bad. It's definitely not the most. And some of these I would actively recommend to people, like Jericho's Fall and The Emperor of Ocean Park. I would recommend to people. Well, theoretically, I'd recommend to people. Pineapple Street is a lot higher than I thought it was. Ride or Die, that was me rounding up. The Unfortunate Blood Debts is also me rounding up. This is nominated in the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I think that is um it's giving payola because that book don't need to be let me not be that person. You have only read 2 5 stars and a couple of 4s. Did not finish so many books this year. I mean, if you haven't finished that many books, and you have 2 5 stars and 2 4 stars, sounding like a nice reading year to me. But I also don't know like how many is so many because maybe not so many books is like still 138. You love Cicely Tyson's memoir, which is longer. So Cicely Tyson's memoir is long. I guess I haven't actually seen that physically. It just looks really, in my mind, it's short. You've been on a Rebecca Ross kick since finishing Divine Rivals. Okay, love that for you. I've never read. Rebecca Ross. I don't know why I stopped talking. That was me. You love an old woman stories. Plus, Be Kind is doing a read along. Okay, love that for you. I just, I mean, I like the idea of the stories. But I'm just in no rush to read Barbara's memoir. I'm in no rush every time, every time. And the thing is, like, I like coffee, and so like I'm pretty. I don't know. I feel who was it? It was like when Stephanie from Stephanie's Bookish, or is that the name of the channel? Maybe it's not. I feel like it is though. Anyway, when she did her video with like the matcha and pairing it with books, and you had like a recipe, I watched it then because like, okay, at least it's a recipe. But like, I don't know. I don't have a espresso machine, so like, I really am not interested in watching your espresso come out. I'm not really interested in you pouring it over ice in your little glassy glass. Like aesthetically and sonically, um, it was entertaining, but I do be skipping. Probably not. I think the only one that I could actually talk about would be Songbirds and Snakes because the other ones I've already discussed. Like when There was Love in Taipei, which was the adaptation of Love Boat Taipei. And I talked about that on Patreon because we did Love Boat as a my short-lived book club, the Choices Book Club. So we talked about that. But Hunger Games, a new one, Songbirds and Snakes. I did actually watch that on Monday, Tuesday. I did not care for that book when it came out. I still think that it's wild to get a snow story. Uh, I think it is. And I think that Suzanne Collins is probably a really intelligent author, and the series of books that she's written is probably really good. But speaking my truth, I do not like The Hunger Games as books, but as movies, I think that they really succeed. I think that they really succeed as movies. I think that the points that she is attempting to make are stronger a little bit, even though Jennifer Lawrence low key miscast as Katniss, but also it really worked in the end. You know what I mean? Like, if I look at the description of Katniss, it is not Jennifer Lawrence, but I do think that Jennifer Lawrence did a good job. Like, when I think of Jennifer Lawrence's roles that she really executed to the fullest, I feel like she was a better Katniss than she was in them little X-Men movies as Mystique. Like, Rebecca Romaine had, like, what, 3 lines, but she was eating Jennifer Lawrence up. Sorry, Jennifer. Sorry, can't lie there. But, also to go back to that, Songbirds and Snakes is a good movie. It's excellent. It's a good time. I still think the singing is a little it's too deeply unserious. I didn't like it. It was very uncomfortable in the theater. Also, I guess I could have just made this a video, but, um, maybe it's just, like, in retrospect, I did not really view the violence that happened in the games in the first trilogy, or I guess it was a quartet because they split it. But in the first set of movies, in the first group of movies, when they're in the, arena and they are attacking each other, whatever, I didn't really feel like it was that violent. But here, like, the violence just hit very different in Songbirds and Snakes, and it was very gruesome, and it was a lot, and it was very heavy, and it was very uncomfortable to watch. I feel like that was also part of the point. So I did like that the violence felt different in the 2 sets of films because obviously, at this point, part of the story is, like, nobody actually wants to watch The Hunger Games, and, like, that's the whole reason that Suzanne Collins wrote this story, kind of, and so I think to see it, like, from the inception of, like, yeah, this is a lot, nobody wants to watch it, to, like, the spectacle that they become in the later ones, it was really again, it just works better in a visual medium, and that's nothing against, like, Suzanne Collins. I just think that some things are meant to be visual, and the Hunger Games series is meant to be. So Lionsgate don't got a lot going for them, but they have that. And they did what they needed to do. They did what they needed to do. Everyone was well cast. Viola Davis, I ain't never seen Viola Davis do this. Okay. I've seen Viola in a lot of like wild things, like all the way back from the Fantasia Barrino story, all the way up to Doubt, over to Fences. Like she's been on a lot. She's run the gamut. But what she was doing in this little Hunger Games movie, she was having a good time. She was having fun in this movie. They had to pay her like nothing. That like the only reason she wanted to be in this movie was to have fun. And so I feel like she was just having fun. She said, "My paycheck is a joke, but I'm here to have fun." And she was having it. She was delivering. So even if you hated the book and you just have zero interest, I would find it very hard to believe that if you watch this movie, you would not enjoy seeing Viola Davis. But let me get caught up on these comments because I got to be behind. I got to be very behind. Goodreads reading goal was 25. You're at 76. Look at you, overachiever. Welcome to the Overachievers Club. I wish I was you. Listen, I wanted to like Ride or Die so bad. Me giving that book 3 stars, that was me being very generous. I really wanted to. I really wanted to see it, but it's just not a good book. And Blood Debts, I think I know I read it for Patreon. I don't think it won a poll, but I think I had it in like a vlog for them, so I couldn't DNF it or I didn't want to DNF it. Um, it's not very good. I was very sad. I was very sad. Welcome back. I did. I did. But let me go on. I still have Goodreads open. Let me just look it up. Cicely Tyson. It's a good thing that y'all can't see this because I think I spelled her name. Her book is only 432 pages. How long is this Barbara book? My name is Barbara. 432. Is Barbara's memoir is 1,040 pages, and you were talking about Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson's book was 432. Does Cicely Tyson have another book that I'm just unaware of? Because Just As I Am is 432 pages. So what are you smoking, Alan? What is happening? Yeah, it's just not good. It's not very good. And the cover read this is the thing. I think this is how you so here's the thing. I think that if you if the series is getting a cover change, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. And if you're a duology and your second book has a different cover than the first book, that's all I have to say. We have done one sprint and we might do a second one. It's really up to the people. It's up to the people. They're giving yes, I enjoyed the coffee recipes. Yes, it was also bland to me. But also like it's a I hesitate to say a completely different story, but it's a completely different story. Not that the book was like light years ahead of that, but the book and that movie, very different. You watch Songbirds and Snakes, Bessie's the HG Stan and Dragon 2 is a good movie up until that. Listen, the movie is so long. It is so long. And I have to say that that's kind of where the book fell apart for me too, is when Snow becomes a peacekeeper. And I have to say that Snow being a peacekeeper wasn't any better in the movie, but I am a basic person. And I said, you know, Tom, you're really attractive to look at. So I will be here for this Hitler Youth situation they put you in. I'm not really it's weird. And then his bestie and all that story, it was weird. His whole storyline with Lucy, again, very weird. My issue with it is I just feel like Snow's story does not really need to tie into Katniss the way that I feel like Suzanne was making it tie in. I feel like seeing him as kind of the brains behind the evolution of the games and it becoming the spectacle that it was is enough, and not for him to be like, I was burned by a girl from 12 once, and now a girl from 12 is rising. It's a little I feel like that is not Suzanne Collins to me. Like the Suzanne Collins that I see discussed is not the same person that would do that. And so for me, it's a little no, thank you, no, thank you. What are we doing, Suzanne? And it's a little deeply unserious, and it was a little deeply unserious in the movie. And I said, I we could have snatched this off, but also it was fun. Like I had a good time. I had a good time still. So definitely. I haven't watched Mother because I kind of love myself, but I'm happy you enjoyed it. I'm happy. I'm not a horror girly. I'm not trying to watch the spooky yuki things. Yeah, the violence was a lot. It was very dramatic. I was just like, mm. I mean, it does help that they like it's very I don't know, there it's not like, oh, the violence is happening like in this lush jungle. It's like in the abandoned ruins of a former like football stadium. So here we are. Maybe. I could see that. I did also want to watch that. I know what you're talking about. The hard feelings. I think that's the name of the movie. But yeah, maybe I could get myself to watch it. I think it's on streaming now. It's on Netflix. Am I gonna pay for Netflix though? Probably not. So will I watch it? Probably not. But maybe one day. She did. Hello. Oh, I mean, you might like it. You might. I didn't. Vina didn't. But you might. I think we'll do one last reading sprint at 45, so in like 5 minutes. Because if we're gonna do a second sprint, we should probably do it soon, and that'll definitely be the last one. Because 'cause I'm not trying to be here all night. I'm not trying to do that. Definitely not trying to do that. But I can do one more, and I think it'll be a 30, a nice shorter sprint, so you don't, like, fall asleep. Because I know if I do a 45-minute sprint, I could probably fall asleep. So we'll do a 30-minute sprint at 45, so in 4 minutes. Penguin does second cover for book 2 a lot. No. I kinda love myself, so I definitely won't do that. I'm not a nighttime reader. You know how some people are like, "Oh, yeah, I read before bed." Not me. Not me. I put on, like, Forensic Files. Yeah, first off, the cover is ugly. It's a hideous change, and then they said, "Yeah, we're gonna change it." And to me, I feel like that's the bad s like, that's a sign. I mean, I don't pay attention enough to what books go on sale like that to correlate, but I do think that the whole purpose of changing the cover is to something about the cover that you originally had was not pulling in the readers that you were trying to pull in. You're trying to recapture an audience or like make the audience a little bit wider, cast a wider net. And so obviously there's trouble in the water if it's a two book series and you can't commit to the same visual aesthetic between the books. Eh, like it's one thing if it's a trilogy, but come on now. I want to say so exactly. I have not been burned as many times. Um, but the book was bad. And as much as I would like to say it wasn't, I can't lie. Um, and no, thank you. See, this is what I thought. Like, I know that I don't really pay attention to ebook sales because I don't really buy ebooks like that. But I thought that they just, kind of randomly and sporadically did it because they know that they be out here extorting people with a regular sales price. Mhm. Mhm. I've seen every episode of Forensic Files way too many times. Way too many times to count. When they came out with that Forensic Files 2, I said, "Maybe let me try it. Let me try it. Let me watch it." And, like, it's the same setup, but the man died. The narrator is dead. Peter Thomas is gone. Rest in peace. And the person that they got is fine, but it's not Peter Thomas. And it's not even like Bill Curtis, who used to do what was it, Cold Case Files? Bill Curtis, he can also come and do some crime happened in your neighborhood, and I will sit and listen. But whoever they hired for Forensic Files 2, it's a no thank you. Feel like it's usually when the same year the book has been published either really bad or it's done numbers. Oh, when they drop down to that 199, maybe. I think it's just them trying to make up for the fact that they know they're out here doing too much, asking for too much money from these people when no ebook file should be costing nobody $14 for an ebook file. Come on now. I mean, I do think that the author gets more in terms of like a royalty cut on the ebook copy. So like maybe that's the ethical way to purchase a book, but I can't do it. I say that, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to buy them little Sarah Janet's next book as an ebook because UK shipping takes forever. And y'all not about to have me get spoiled after I've been suffering through this little blue book for the last book. You're not gonna be spoiling me. So I'm gonna be out here on my little Kindle. People who buy Kindle books on full price, they are angels. They are angels. Finish word catcher, even though you watch your videos on bomb. Listen, you got this, and you arrived just at the right time because I'm supposed to be pulling up our good friend Miss Pomodoro Kitty for our next and final sprint. We're doing 30 minutes. I'm gonna have to change it. I have not done that yet, but we're gonna do a 30-minute sprint. It's gonna be our last little sprint of the night, so y'all can enjoy the rest of your evening. But we'll also hang out for a little bit after this is over. So see you guys in 30. That was not what I wanted. Welcome back, readers. That was our final sprint of the night. How was everyone's time? I got about 9%. I was having Siri read it to me. So if I had read it myself, mayhaps could have read a little bit more. But I'm not mad about it. I take it back. I mean, there are obviously some trade-offs when you have Siri read it to you, but one day I have a fear. I have a feeling that they'll be able to tell the difference between minute and minute. But in this chapter, we went back with our Persephone character, Corey, and she was doing things. And then we went where I was just now. We were back with her mother, Emmer, as she leaves China and is like, Corey, where the fuck are you? What are you doing? Why aren't you texting me? So that's kind of where I am. I don't really appreciate that Emmer's chapters are like her playing catch up. I don't mind that they're happening slightly asynchronous, but it's like I literally have already read what Corey contributed to this. And then I have to go back and read from Emmer, her mother. And it's just, I don't know. I don't appreciate it necessarily. I do appreciate the sort of difference between the two characters. I feel like there is a distinction in terms of just like the writing. So I do appreciate her mother's chapters more because I feel like there's more substance there. But it also helps that her mother isn't necessarily constantly talking to somebody, whereas in Corey's chapter, it's just like a lot of her talking to the people that she's around. Welcome, Paulina. Reading Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown. Hopefully it's good. Got through 16 pages. I mean, that's very impressive. In what was that? Like 5 minutes ish? 10 minutes ish, maybe? Had dinner and watched YouTube. Finished reading The Secret Life of Church. The Secret Lies of Church, I think Church Ladies. Loved it. And then listened to some music. Another 45 pages, 100 pages left. Okay, look at you. Look at you being a reader. I will not be doing any more reading tonight. I think I have like 2 episodes of Lessons in Chemistry, which I guess I could probably talk about that in December during Vlogmas. But I have been eating up the show. I think it's the only 2 episodes that I have left. And the book was good. The book ate. But I do think that if like I had not watched the show, then the book could have been 5 stars. But because I watched the show, the book could only like there are more secrets. I don't know. Like there's more things that are revealed in Lessons in Chemistry than I anticipated. But because I had watched the show, I kind of got like most of like the surprise connections between characters. And so the one remaining twist reveal that the book had left wasn't like it was just okay. It was just okay. And then I do still feel like the show takes the characters and they're just better. Like they just are. They're just better characters. Sorry. You looked around for early Black Friday deals, have some stuff for your new spot, so expensive otherwise. I'm not much of a Black Friday girly. I thought about it, but aside from like maybe the snagging a little Hulu deal, 99 cents, there's not too much that I need. I don't see myself, doing anything other than that. So I'm actually not. I wish I was at home on Friday, but I have work Friday because there's a football game on Saturday. So I hate that, but it's the last one. It's the last one of the season, so I can't be too upset. But I have work on Friday, so I guess even if I wanted to shop, I probably wouldn't because I'm probably gonna want to sleep in for as much of Friday as I can, sadly. But I'm gonna make the most of my day off tomorrow. I have a grocery delivery in the morning. I wanted it today because I was gonna feel so bad having them come on Thanksgiving, but the only time they were going to deliver today, I was like, "I don't know if I'm gonna be home," because technically I was supposed to be at work at that time, and I'm not gonna have my groceries sitting outside like that. So, didn't do it today. So I have a grocery delivery first thing in the morning, which is probably why I should go. So I will be, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for my grocery delivery, and then I have Saltburn tomorrow evening. But other than that, I might do some cleaning while I watch the parade. 'Cause I've been putting the cleaning off for a little bit too long, I think. 60% into Swordcatcher, you know Lynn and Connor are gonna be endgame, but thematically, it should really be Lynn and Kel. I know Marin exists, but where's the personality truly? Connor too. I didn't like the obviously. Um, Let me think about these characters. So Lynn, I did not care about at all. Lynn is the medicine person, right? The little medicine magic lady. Didn't care about Lynn. Connor, I wanted to like really appreciate Connor and I wanted to appreciate Kel because they had this storyline that I actually was invested in. The one that actually made it feel like it was allegedly an adult fantasy where it's like at the court, there's politicking, all of that. But it was just it was bland. Connor needs a personality outside of sad, cocky, rich boy with daddy issues. I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Is this controversial? Is it controversial? I don't know. I I don't think that Cassandra Clare likes gay people. I, listen, let I'm acting as though I'm about to get tomatoes launched at me in the comment section, but I don't think Cassandra got any shooters in the chat. Here's the thing. I was a baby when Cassandra Clare was putting out books. I was like in eighth ish, like seventh, eighth grade when the first few Mortal Instruments books were coming out. And so Alec Lightwood having a gay character in a book like that, I was gagged. I was gooped and I was gagged, right? So in the first three Mortal Instruments books, it's like real cute. It's like real cute. Okay. Alec, he got the little forbidden romance storyline going on with Magnus Bane. You can't be with him because he's a warlock. You're a shadow hunter. You're not supposed to be together, but you fall in love anyway. Then she says, I'm gonna write three more books. I'm gonna write three more books. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Um, and then she has Alec just turn into like a homophobe. Like, how you gonna be gay and a homophobe? It was giving unserious. And so hate it for me. Hate it for me. Hate everything that Alec was doing. I've never wanted to kill a gay character off so badly. But when he started making moves in fucking Fallen Angels and not Fallen Angels, but is it Fallen Angels? It is Fallen Angels. And then Lost Souls, I said this is a little too unserious. But Heavenly Fire, he came back around. Heavenly Fire, we're back on track. Then you have the Infernal Devices, which is some of the most anti-gay books I've ever read. Because sorry to say this, but Tessa Gray, is that her name? Last name Tessa? Tessa don't have no personality either. Don't have a personality. And to hear Cassandra Clare stands speak, they will let you know that that should have been a throuple. And the only reason that a vagina would be up in there is for some compulsory heterosexuality because Jim and Will just wanted to bone, just wanted to fuck. And even they would have been bland, would not have been good, would have been booty cheeks. But Tessa being involved is fucking foolishness. So I would support Jim and Will just on the fact that like it kind of made sense. It was like the vibes were kind of there, but like Tessa is literally only there because plot reasons. And then you get to the dark artifices, and I ain't never seen a person hate gay people the way that Cassandra Clare was hating the gays in the dark artifices. Like I'm still livid. The Blackthorns are all ass. The Blackthorns are all booty cheeks for how they was moving and behaving. This is what I want you to know. I just want you to know this. Okay. So in City of Heavenly Fire, there's a moment where we got our girl Mark Antony and Helen. Helen and Mark Antony are half Fae because Cassandra Clare's bestie is Holly Black, and Holly Black is a Fae person. So I think that was just sprinkled in there. And so the Clave, the little Shadow Hunter Society, said, "We can't really trust you, Helen, because you are a fairy. You're a fairy, so we gotta lock you up, bitch. We gotta lock your ass up because you got fairy blood." And they sent her lesbian ass to the middle of nowhere and stuck her on an island in the middle of goddamn nowhere and just said, here you go, bitch. You can be here. And I guess your girlfriend can kind of visit you if she wants to, but she don't got to. And so the only lesbians in the entire series got shunted off to the middle of goddamn nowhere while all their brothers and sisters started moving heaven and earth, breaking every law that the Shadowhunter Society has for literally everybody else. But they were just like, hey, Shadowhunter leaders, if you could like let our sister come home, I would really appreciate it. Meanwhile, they're over here fucking people they're not supposed to be fucking. They're going into the fairylands because they're not supposed to go there. But Mark Anthony done showed back up. The fairies done kicked him out because he got kidnapped by the fairies. Helen got sent into fucking purgatory for having fairy blood. And Mark Anthony, he got picked up by the fairy courts to be like, you're gonna come with us, bitch. And so he got kicked out of the fairy courts and he just got to be reintroduced to Shadowhunter Society, and he didn't go to fucking prison because he wasn't a lesbian. It's just foolishness. Fucking foolishness. And then you actually get a throuple in the Dark Artifices, and it's just foolishness, and you hate it, and it's ass, it's booty cheeks. And then you get to the series. The way that she broke this fucking series in the Dark Artifices is still wild to me. And then this is like, okay, if that's the truth, then you really could have been having Jim and Will. But also you couldn't have Jim and Will because you decided that we needed to have a prequel set with our direct ancestors. And so these people have to be able to get into groups to fuck each other so her future characters can be cousin fuckers. It's just unserious. Would have been, but Cassandra Clare ain't never had a good idea. I would agree. I mean, I don't know if he acts 16 because I've already forgotten the book, but I do agree that he is dumb. Sleeping in the same bed for a decade, it would have been, but again, Cassandra ain't got she never had a good idea in her life. Ain't never had a good idea in her life. What about the Alec and Magnus series? The Alec and Magnus series is deeply unserious because it is set during the events of the Mortal Instruments, at least the first book. I think the second book, it like plays around and like it jumps to a different spot in the timeline. But uh I mean eventually, okay, I'll get to the comments in a second. But the first book is set during the events of like I think it's between Fallen Angels and Lost Souls when Alec is peak I'm a horrible person and I'm trying to destroy my boyfriend's life because I'm so insecure that I just have, even though we were literally just happy, because again, you guys, City of Glass was supposed to be the last book. So City of Glass is a conclusion. It reads like a conclusion. It wraps up a storyline. And so Alec and Magnus are kind of happy in that book because it's supposed to be the end of the road. And then Fallen Angels and Lost Souls, he has this complete 180 flip. And he's like, actually, I need to make Magnus a human, and I'm going to work with his ex-girlfriend in order to steal his immortality and give it to somebody. It's just fucking foolishness. And the first Magnus and Alec book is set in that same time period. And it's like, for what? For what though? Like, so I've not read it. The only thing that is appealing about the Alec and Magnus series is that Wesley Chu co-writes it. And so for the first time in like 2 decades, an Asian person is actually writing Magnus Bane. I say that I don't think anybody in the Magnus Bane Chronicles, because again, Cassandra Clare is constantly getting her friends to come write fan fiction that is canon. It's very weird. I don't understand that. But I think it's like the only time. I don't think it's like Sarah Beast, Renan, somebody else, and somebody else, like 3 people. I don't think any 3 of those are Asian. I think Wesley Chu was the first actual like Asian man to write Magnus Bane. But even then, like they're not a similar ethnicity. So but still, it's like better than her. It's better than her in theory. Same. It's my least of. Mm, but now, what was that one? The Last Hours, the Chain of Gold and stuff. I feel like that one's worse just because you have to read the infernal devices to read that. But the infernal devices is definitely bad, and Tessa is so boring. Early Malik was a fluke. She hates gays for real. Watching that, I mean, she does have a woman love woman. I mean, this is what you were saying. Yeah, but she does. She has Helen and Aileen Penhollow. Helen is a black one, like I was saying earlier, who got banished to the middle of fucking nowhere. And Aileen did actually go visit her because she's like, "That's my wife. That's my wife, bitch." And so Aileen did go visit her. And in what is it? Queen of Air and Darkness, spoiler alert, they finally there's finally a solution, and Helen is no longer trapped in the middle of fucking nowhere, and Aileen and her get to be reunited. But then all her siblings are like horrible to her. They're like rude as fuck and like talking about how you abandoned us, you weren't there for us. And it's wild because when you read Lady Midnight and Mark Antony shows up after being kidnapped by the fairies, his siblings are like, "Oh, Mark, you're back. You're back. We can't believe it. You're back. You're back, man. We missed you so much." But it's like Helen was literally no fault of her own. She was in the fucking mortal war as a well, she wasn't a child because she's like one of the older Blackthorns, but she was fighting right there. She was, protecting the fucking institutes. And y'all want to act like you abandoned us. You abandoned us. We were out here breaking the law for everybody. We were breaking the law. We were breaking the law, but we can't break the law for you. Fucking foolishness. Justice for Helen. Justice for Aileen. Only two characters in that story that deserved rights. The rest of the Blackthorns can fucking choke, die. Maybe not Mark Antony. I like Mark Antony, except his relationships. His little throuple, they can choke and die. Those two characters can choke and die. But Helen and Mark Antony, the only two Blackthorns that can live. I think there's technically a baby. I think like Octavius, or one of them is like an infant. The infant can live, but then you get to Queen of Air and Darkness, and the like. Not only is Julian Blackthorn, who is ass titties, booty cheeks down, deserves to fucking die. Don't Too good to choke. Choking is too good for him. But the rest of the Blackthorns that are like living and making decisions, stupid. And the Blackthorns ain't never made a good decision in their life. In their life, ain't never made a good decision. Same though. It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. It definitely was. Definitely was. You made the right call. Um, Not yet. It's ongoing. I think there's only supposed to be 3 books though, so I think they're just waiting on a conclusion. And it might even have a release date. Let's stop sharing Miss Pomodoro Kitty and let's go look at Goodreads really quickly. I think it's like the Book of the White, right? That was book 2. The Lost Book of the White. The Eldest Curses. The last book, or book 3, is the Black Volume of the Dead, which is lost. And it does not seem to have a. Let me see here. Show all editions. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have a release date. Yeah, there is, but they're boring too. Like, I mean, if you wanted, here's the thing: they get more screen time than Helen and Aileen because, again, Helen was trapped in the middle of fucking nowhere on a tiny island after she risked her life in the mortal war. Rose up against Valentine when he was like, "I'm back, bitches." Like, then they just said, "Actually, you got that fairy blood, bitch. Go, get out, leave. Can't be here." So if you want actual sapphics, like sure, there are more of them in the Lost Hours, but and the Lightwood is fine. The Lightwoods are a cute family. I do fuck with the Lightwoods. I fuck with the phrase. Like the only good thing about reading the series is like you can find your family that you fuck with, but then you also got to remember they're going to be cousin fuckers. So you got to look at them sideways. Luckily, I think Helen and Aileen are safe. I think. Don't quote me on that though. Mm. I mean, I enjoyed The Art of Prophecy. It is DD. I had it on yesterday. Well, yeah, yesterday, sprinting with the patrons, and I had it on. It's very warm. I'm a cheap person, so I was worried at the price tag, but it was like 37 degrees when I was coming home the other day, and I was warm. And I said, okay, it was worth it. It was worth it. I take back all the reservations that I had. And the last book came in 2020. Yeah, she don't. She don't care. But maybe one day. Maybe one day she'll care. I mean, I doubt it. Well, allegedly we got one more series. She got one final her magnum opus, I guess. We're going to see Kit from the Dark Artifices. We're going to see what is his name? Kit's Parabatai, the other Blackthorn child who was doing some foolishness. He definitely gonna they definitely did some fuck shit, so that's gonna come back into play. And I do think that I guess she technically did need to finish the last hours before she could write that, because I do think that what was her name? Lucy? Was that Lucy was the one with the ghosts? Lucy and the future Blackthorn child who was doing some stupid shit also with fucking ghosts. They clearly we needed foundation and stuff. So she cooking, she in the kitchen, but she needs to stay on the Shadow Hunters. She needs to leave the Rag Picker King alone. They are though. They are. And what's killing what I thought was so funny, what I thought was really funny about it is in the last hour she tried because I think she'd been watching. I think she watched my videos and she got tired of me out here yelling that she's writing cousin fuckers because she said, actually, what you don't know, sir, what you don't know, you dumb bitch, is none of these characters are actually true because the person who wrote that family tree that you're using to justify the cousin fuckers, they lied. They're not a reliable shadow hunter. They just make stuff up. And it's like, okay, but there's only but so many people. Like just just using context clues, common sense, even if this family tree isn't correct, to get from the last hour's characters to the Mortal Instruments characters is still only like two generations. It's where are these people coming from? Where are they coming from? And I guess in her defense, they should come from somewhere because Cordelia, Miss Brown Skin, her and I got the same skin tone, but I think she got, red undertones. She over there, she over there, with the same ancestors as Brother Zachariah. So we got the Persian character and Brother Zachariah, who was from Asia, like East Asia. So he like Korean, Chinese character. I think he's Chinese. Don't hold me to that. I want to say he's Chinese because I was reading their phone devices. And I thought it was weird they made the Chinese shadow hunter a violin prodigy. But I said, okay, I don't know. So we got the Persian character and the Chinese character, and their cousin, their direct descendant, is Hitler Youth Emma Carstairs. And Ubermensch, Jace. You could argue Jace. I don't think you want to make that argument, but he was experimented upon. So maybe that did something to his little DNA fixins. But Emma, blonde hair, blue white Hitler Youth, Emma, come on now. You and the gay Shadowhunter sadly not good. The Ashley Shuttleworth ones, oh, that's sad. Although to be fair, that second cover kind of told me everything I needed to know about them books not being good. Oh, it's only duology? The Art of Prophecy is only on series for like 2 pages. The rest of that book is not that bad. It's a very good book, actually, if you ask me. But people gonna read what they gonna read. I'm not gonna read it because it's not gonna be worth my time. It's not gonna be worth your time. It's not gonna be worth anybody's time. The book is not don't need to come out. Her plate is full. I don't think you do though. I don't think you do. I'm sure that there's somebody who has like one of those two-parters where each part is like 4 hours long. You can go get the Shadowhunter lore. I would tell you to just go watch the TV show, but you're not a TV girly, so it wouldn't work. But the TV show is really good. Do recommend the TV show. The movie is horrible. The movie is horrible. I don't know why the movie got fans. The movie is bad. It's not well lit. It's not well, the acting is fine. I'll give them the acting. It's not well lit. It's very low budget. And it's not even accurate the way that the first season of the TV show, like that's the gag. The gag is the TV show was more accurate than the book was. But with that said, I feel like I have been here long enough. It is almost 10 o'clock for me, so it's later for some of y'all. I'm sure she did. I had to stop watching them because, well, one, I've read them. I don't need it broken down. But part of me has not really been. I don't really like that content, so I try not to watch it because I don't know. I feel like they're like reviews disguised. I don't know. It's just I don't like it. So I'm sure that one exists. I wouldn't put it past them. It's too much. It's too easy to click that. If people out here breaking down Sarah J. Maas, they're definitely breaking down Cassandra because Cassandra got. I guess they're about actually the same because there's what 8, and then that'd be 12, and then 13. Yeah, 15 apiece. 15 apiece. Although I guess technically, um, Sarah will have 16, and then Cassandra allegedly will have 18 when that final trilogy comes out. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna go. Maybe I will jump on tomorrow. Maybe I won't jump on tomorrow. Maybe I'll jump on next week. I got time off, so who knows? I don't count the little I don't count the what is it? The short story collections because I'm never gonna read them, even though they're canon. People will fight you on the TV show being good, but you're correct. The books are not masterpieces, and honestly, the TV show in some ways is better. I do like the way that they ended the show is the correct way to adapt Heavenly Fire, I think. Like obviously it's different than the books. It's not the same as the books, but I think that in terms of a show and a narrative like impacting the characters, I think that it's just the better way to go. It's a better way to go, but again, I haven't read them little short stories. Yeah, it's A Court of Frost and Starlight is essential. A Court of Frost and Starlight is essential reading. It is unskippable. But even if I didn't, uh, I mean, it's very loose. It's very like season 3 is. I mean, they did get to like go back in and like refilm the finale. Um, and it's not like a beat for beat, all 6 books, but they do, there's a showdown against the Heavenly Fire antagonist, and it is remixed a little, but yeah, there's elements of Heavenly Fire. It's not like beat for beat because even the stupid foolishness with the the Alec and Magnus storyline with him being jealous and maybe even that gets adapted. How that is adapted in the show is even better than it was in the books. Like the books are just booty cheeks. They're booty cheeks, but they're my favorite series of hers. They're the foundation. And as for me counting the Kristen Sarah J. Maas one is one book, and that one book, excuse me, is short. There's like 3. It's like Shadowhunter Academy, Bane Chronicles, Shadow Market. There's 3 of them, and each of them are chunky with multiple stories. Too much. Too much. No, thank you. So they don't get to count. They don't get to count. But I'm actually gonna go now. Thank you for being here. Maybe I'll pop back up before December for another one of these impromptu sprinty sprints, chatty chats. But stay safe out there, stay hydrated, and I'll see you guys